Hi, Stampers, it's Lisa with Queen Bee Creative. Welcome. Today is a Monday, and so we were working on a fun fold card, and this is one I have not done before. This is a squeeze box card, and it may be a little different than the ones you've seen on Pinterest because I moved things a little, but I think you're going to like it. And I'm using the Darling Dinos stamp set. It is a bundle, although I stamped a whole bunch of the dinos and I cut them out on my brother's Scan and Cut so that I can have a whole bunch of them to use all at once. But I'm excited to show you how it's done. Let's get started. Okay, so this is our stamp set, and then this is the card we're making. Again, it is called a squeeze box card. Now, I happen to have tags in the little pockets of these ones, but I've also seen them done with gift cards or maybe a folded up, maybe a $5 bill or something in there. It can be really cute if the kid was turning 5 and gave a $5 bill. I think they'd find that cute. But I'm excited to show you how it's done. We're going to start out with a basic 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 back. And then I've got the same thing for the front, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But then I have an additional piece that is, so this is 1 1/4 by 5 1/2 that I'm going to put on the edge of the front of the card. And then we're going to have this squeeze box to go in the middle. So this piece right here, 4 3/4, scored at 2 3/4, 5 1/2, 8 1/4. And then it's just mountain, valley, mountain, valley. It's actually going to go valley, 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 mountain, valley. But this is the middle piece. And then I have some pieces that are going to be mats over them. And these are 2 1/2 by 4 1/2. And so I have 4 of those. Okay, then I have 2 pieces of shaded spruce that are going to be 2 1/4 by 4 1/4, which I'm going to dry emboss, and they're going to go on either end. And then I have 2 pieces of designer series paper that are 2 1/4 by 4 1/4, and they're going to go here in the middle. Okay, now I decided that I wanted to have the sides do a bit of an angle. On our example, I left the back solid and only angled these 2. I don't know if you can see that on there, but they can go either way. You can choose to angle all 3 of them or just angle the 2. I just thought I'd have a little more stability if I only did the 2. And I went ahead and I just cut at an angle. So let's go ahead and let's glue these. Okay, so I want to give this kind of an angle cut to it. So I'm going to come in with my snips, and I'm going to just start down, I guess it's about 1.5 inches. So if you wanted to measure, you could make 1.5 inches mark there, and then just cut up to this corner. Okay, and because they are solid pieces and both sides are the same, it's not going to matter. They're going to line up just fine. If they were designer series paper, you'd want to put like sides together and then do that cut. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to take and give this the same angle. So I'm going to make it flush with this point up here, but then I'm giving it the border on the two edges. So basically I've got my standard borders on the side and I've doubled it down here at the bottom. And then I'm going to use that as my guide to just cut this one to match. So now when I bring this down and make that border even all the way around, that's going to work. So let's do that with the other side. The other thing you could do is you could take this piece that we just cut off, and then you can use it as a template and follow that along too. But I wanted to dry emboss these pieces, so I'm going to put those into an embossing folder. And kind of going with this theme in the middle here, I decided to use this embossing folder. It's the dotted circles. These embossing folders are huge. They are, geez, 8.5 by 6. So that you could actually emboss a full card front and back if you wanted to. And then I'm just going to try to line this up here. Just kind of watching that middle circle, see if I can make that even on the two sides. Pretty close. And once I'm happy with where I have that, I'm going to sandwich that in my plates for my cut and emboss machine. So I have number 1, the folder with the paper in it, and then number 4. And I'm going to feed that through. I'm going to want to do the same thing with the other side, only this time I want my, so that's going to be raised on that side. So this side, I want it raised over here. So I'm just having my high point on the opposite side. Okay. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and attach these. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set my glue. So I always store it in this little container so that it's point down so that the glue settles at the tip that I use. And I've got my seal on the sides here. And my mini glue box, the tear and tape, my dimensionals, fun little container. I have a friend of mine that makes those so I can sell them on my website. Because they are very heavy. I've also got a great little container here that's 3D printed that holds the blocks. I'm just putting tear and tape around the three sides. As I said, I wanted to create these pockets to hold the card, or I'm thinking more cash. I think that's going to be cute. And so I'm using a tear and tape because it is a nice. Now again, if you wanted to cut back the angle, but I'm going to leave it solid. Okay, so this is the inside of my card. And now normally the squeeze box card, they're centered right in the middle. I had actually pushed mine out and made it flush on the edge, just because I wanted a little room to put my little dino guys on the side. But I guess we can move it over just to show you the difference and have it overlap a little here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now remember, this is the center piece, and so we want to make sure it's going to open the way we want. So this is going to be the back, and I'm going to center that on the back panel. Okay, and I'm going to take this little strip and just adhere this to my designer series paper right up here on the edge. So now what I want to do is I want to just match this up so that the front and back align. And now that's going to open like this. That's why they call it a squeeze box. Okay, I'm going to decorate using the Darling Dinos. So I've already got some little dinos fussy cut with my brother's Stampin' cut. So they just need a little bit of coloring. So there's our three dinos all colored. Now we're going to create our happy birthday across the front. So I've got my little half inch, which is probably 3/8. But it's just this little strip. I had it left over and the words fit into it, so I went with it. And then I'm going to pull out my little scraps for this. That looks about right. So this is 3/4 of an inch. And then we need something for right here. So let's see. This is, I probably just pulled a scrap and stamped onto it, honestly. And it looks like it's 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. And then I'm going to be stamping in shaded spruce ink. The little roar means and dinosaur leaves the little kind of gap in the middle, so you can choose what you want roar to mean in the middle. So I'm going to use I love you. Maybe we're getting close. Now I have to remember it's a new bottle and not squeeze too hard. So I'm kind of centering this in here, trying to make sure that my border is even on 3 sides. And then I'm come over here and snip this one off to match. And sometimes it takes me a few times because I'll go in a little wide because I can always cut off more, but I can't glue it back on. just for a little added something. Now, when I go to place these guys here, you'll notice that this, with our raised and everything, it's higher than down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dimensional down here. And then I'm going to put blue dots on the other side. So what that's going to do is it's going to even it up so they are the same height. Okay, so my dimensional is over here on this side. And my mini glue dots are on this side where it's touching our waist. Rather than the tags, you can choose to do tags if you wish, but I think what I'm going to do is just put a $5 bill in there. I think of tags as being more of an adult card, whereas the dinos make it look like a little kid. And again, this one is in the middle, so it isn't a traditional squeeze box, whereas this one was pushed to the back. And then, but they both work. So I hope you found today's card helpful and that you give it a play. And I'd love to know what designer series paper, what colors, and what bundle you're going to be working with to create your squeeze box card. Thanks a lot. Bye.